Hey guys, this one is going to be special, so make sure you stay till the end of this. So I went to the thrift store today and I couldn't believe my eyes because I found this photo of Audrey Hepburn. And I think this is from the Breakfast at Tiffany's movie set, or I used Google Lens to identify it. Now, I've seen different versions of it. I couldn't quite find this exact version. And I'm not even sure. I think this may be a digital reprint. I hope it's a it's an actual darkroom print, but I don't think so. I don't think so. Although it looks quite authentic, I'm gonna have to check it later. But the reason why I'm doing this video is I want to show you guys how this image was taken because I've been thinking about it. As a photographer myself, I'm always curious to, understand how images are taken, you know. And you guys know that I already have a lot of experience with film cameras. And as a matter of fact, I have a lot of them. So let me just explain to you how this image was likely taken. The first thing is that this image was the photo or the photographer set the camera on a tripod and likely will be using some form of a cable release mechanism, to actually control the shutter. Now, you notice that everyone around Audrey Hepburn is blurred out, and that's because they're in motion. Now, to be able to capture them in motion, your shutter speed has to be slow enough to capture them in motion and fast enough to also capture her while she is standing still. The key here is that she stands still during that period for a moment, momentarily, and everybody else is dancing. So they appear to be blurred out. And I think that to be able to achieve to this effect, you need to use a shutter speed of slower than 1/15th of a second. That's fast enough that she can still pose within a fraction of a second and you can still get her reasonably exposed, you know, and you can get the blurred out effect, but not too blurred out because you can see they're quite like these ghostly figures. It creates a really creepy effect, but it's cool. But they're not too blurred out. That's why I think that it's just about 1/15th of a second, or slightly slower than that, you know. And then, if you look carefully, you have folks in the back there that are still relatively in focus, especially this man over here who seems to be standing quite still. So he's relatively not too blurred out. And that means that your aperture has to be um, small enough. I'm talking about the actual size. Or in this case, you need a higher aperture number, enough to capture most of the scene and not create um, like the depth of field that, for portraits and stuff. So it's almost like you pretend as if you're shooting landscape. So I think this would be shot at, say, either at maybe f11, sort of f8, could be f8, f11, something like that. You know, the aperture is small enough that it can capture the images or the subjects in the back fairly close in focus. And with those uh, four requirements, I think you can achieve this image. And certainly you need a motion around your subject as well. So I'm talking about aperture that's not too high, but not too small either, you know. And I'm talking about the shutter speed that's fairly slow, about 1/15th of a second. And then also setting your camera on a tripod to make sure that it's nice and stable so that it does not introduce any additional blur to your subject itself, and then also using a shutter release cable. So that's how I think this classic image was achieved.